Hi guys, in this video I want to tell you about sophistry. Okay, so it's a really important intellectual movement in ancient Greece, and if you read Plato or Aristotle, you come up against sophistry time and time again. Okay, in metaphysics, Aristotle refutes a lot of sophisms. Plato, he kind of always, makes fun of, these sophists. Kind of like I make fun of New Agers in my videos. Um, so, who were these sophists? Okay, so they were. Uh, I'm not sure if I can call them philosophers. They were intellectuals, but they did not believe in this kind of absolute objective truth. Okay, so um, for Plato and Aristotle, things, there was some kind of a truth in this world, necessary a priori truth about this world. Okay, for instance, there are these forms, which exist out there in this kind of Platonic world, and things in this world are just copy of these forms. Okay, so there is this kind of form which exists forever, from space and time, kind of apart from space and time. For Aristotle, there was this um, unmoved mover, this kind of weird, pretty hard to understand thing which kind of drives everything without, kind of like an eternal engine which kind of runs this universe. Okay, so there are some things which are kind of eternal, which are certain, um, which are absolute, you can say. And sophists kind of rejected all of it. Okay, so for sophists, man was the measure of all things. Okay, so kind of these so-called truths, for Plato and Aristotle, they're just kind of human inventions. I mean, they only exist, because we say they do. Like, this world is in flux. Okay, it's always changing. It's kind of political regimes change. We age, we die. Things fall apart. And there's nothing really stable or absolute about this world. Okay, nothing. And people invent concepts and then they use them, and that's all there is to it. Okay, it's like we kind of can really think, do mathematics, uh, come up with all these intellectual philosophical systems, but uh, they don't exist in the world. Okay, they're just inventions of human thought. Okay, that was the sophistical standpoint, fundamentally. Okay, so um, whatever exists kind of relative to a human being, and there is no absolute truth. Okay, and in our modern day, what would be example of a sophist? Think about this. There is one terrific example of a sophistical profession in our own day. So, um, let's think about a crime. Okay, somebody did something, illegal, killed someone or whatever. A philosopher would be like the investigator. He would say, well, these were the facts. This person was killed at 9 p.m. Blah blah blah. Facts. And he would say, well, these are certain objective facts. Okay, so that would be like Plato and Aristotle. And a sophist in this case would be like a lawyer. Okay, so a lawyer doesn't give a damn if you're guilty or innocent. I mean, he just gets paid to make it seem like you are innocent. Okay, that's it. Like, it's not even, for a lawyer, it's not even a question of like, are you really guilty, are you really innocent? I mean, let's just come up, use metaphors, use kind of beautiful language to convince the judge and the jury that you are innocent. Okay, that's what it's all about. It's about producing a desired effect. So that's what sophistry is all about. And that's lawyers are definitely sophists. Okay, so that's what sophistry was. And one of the things that Plato did not like about them is that they charge for money. Okay, I mean they charge you. You know, they charge for their wisdom. Like you couldn't just become a student of a sophist. You could not say, well, teach me some of this wisdom that you have. Well, he would say, pay. And Plato said, well, that's ridiculous. I mean, how can you charge for the truth? It's like, I mean, it's the truth. It's absolute. It's infinite. How can you charge money for it? Well, and that's kind of ridiculous. I mean, let me ask you. I mean, could you, you know, survive? Living an intellectual life. Could you just survive and pay your bills without charging anyone anything? I mean, that's ridiculous, right? So, of course, they had to charge because I mean, they were, something you, describe as lower middle class, people. They had to charge. So, yeah. And in our, kind of modern age, there is kind of a revival of sophistry in postmodernist philosophy. So, Derrida, and I have some videos in Derrida. Um, they are sort of like modern day sophists. They challenge these absolute, philosophical system. The logocentric uh, Western metaphysics. Sort of philosophies like Kant's system. Uh, so they challenge kind of absolute truth, objective, sort of infinite absolute truth. They challenge it. So if you like postmodernism, if you agree with it to some extent, you also agree that sophists kind of had a point. So you know it's an argument which has been going on for 2,000 years now, and uh, I don't know who was right, sophists or philosophers, but that's just a quick intro.